Your stomach lurches every time their name pops up. Your world shrinks to just them, and every thought, every dream, every waking moment is consumed by their presence. Is it love? Or something far more obsessive, far more dangerous? We've all been there, swept away by intense feelings, convinced we've found the one. But what if those overpowering emotions aren't the beautiful tapestry of true love, but rather the tangled, suffocating vines of something called limerence? Today, we're diving deep into the shadowy corners of the mind to uncover the dark psychology behind this intense, often painful obsession and how it dramatically differs from genuine affection. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to tell the difference and protect your heart from its powerful grip. Imagine Sarah, a bright, successful woman in her early 30s. She met Mark at a work conference. He was charming, funny, and paid her an unusual amount of attention. From that first conversation, something shifted within Sarah. It wasn't just attraction, it was an immediate, overwhelming fixation. She found herself checking her phone constantly, rereading his texts, analyzing every emoji, every pause in their conversations. Her work started to suffer. Her friends noticed her preoccupation. Every conversation eventually veered back to Mark. If he didn't respond immediately, panic would set in, a cold dread twisting her stomach. When he did, a wave of euphoria would wash over her, a feeling Sarah was experiencing unbearable. This wasn't a slow burn, coined in 1979 by psychologist Dorothy Tenoff. Was a sudden, in her book Love and Limerence, blaze, the experience of being in love. Limerence describes an involuntary state of mind that results from a romantic attraction to another person and includes an obsessive need for the object of one's affection to return that feeling. It's a relentless, intoxicating, and often agonizing experience. Think of it like this. Love is a warm, comforting fire that steadily burns, keeping you warm and safe. Limerence is a wildfire, unpredictable and destructive, consuming everything in its path. One of the core distinctions between limerence and love lies in its very nature. Love, in its healthiest form, is about two people growing together, supporting each other, and valuing each other's individuality. It's built on mutual respect, trust, and a desire for the other person's well-being, even if it means personal sacrifice. Limerence, on the other hand, is fundamentally self-centered. It's not about the limerent object's true self, it's about the intense, often idealized image of them that exists in the limerent person's mind. It's about how that person makes you feel, the highs they can bring, the void they seem to fill. The entire experience revolves around the hope of reciprocation and the agonizing fear of rejection. Consider the role of fantasy in limerence. Unlike love, where you appreciate the real person, flaws and all, limerence thrives on elaborate mental constructs. Sarah spent hours imagining future scenarios with Mark, perfect dates, deep conversations, a life together. These fantasies were so vivid, so real to her, that the actual interactions with Mark often fell short, leading to disappointment and a renewed cycle of idealization. This mental movie reel plays on repeat, fueled by tiny crumbs of positive reinforcement, a smile, a fleeting touch, a quick text. These small gestures are amplified into monumental signs of affection, keeping the limerent person tethered to their hopeful delusion. Another key characteristic of limerence is its obsessive rumination. The limerent individual constantly thinks about the limerent object, analyzing every past interaction, rehearsing future ones. This isn't just healthy pondering. It's an intrusive, almost pathological level of thought. Imagine trying to concentrate on work or daily tasks when your mind is constantly hijacked by thoughts of one person. This mental takeover is exhausting and debilitating. Studies in neuroscience suggest that this obsessive thinking might involve the brain's reward system, particularly the release of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. When the limerent object shows even a flicker of interest, the brain gets a dopamine hit, creating a powerful addictive loop. This is why the highs of limerence are so intoxicating and the lows so devastating. It's a chemical roller coaster that's incredibly difficult to get off. The need for reciprocation is another defining feature. In love, you can love someone even if they don't love you back, wishing them happiness regardless. In limerence, the entire emotional landscape is dictated by the perceived return of feelings. If the limerent object shows interest, there's intense euphoria. If they pull away, even slightly, there's crushing despair, anxiety, and even physical pain. This creates an incredibly fragile and unstable emotional state. The limerent person is constantly scanning for signs of affection, interpreting ambiguous signals, and desperately seeking confirmation that their feelings are returned. This isn't about mutual giving, it's about getting. Think about the concept of idealization versus realism. In healthy love, you see your partner for who they are, imperfections and all, and you love them because of those imperfections, not despite them. You accept them wholly. In limerence, the limerent object is often placed on a pedestal, their flaws minimized or completely overlooked. Any negative traits are rationalized away, or worse, seen as charming quirks. This distorted perception prevents true intimacy, as the limerent person isn't connecting with the real individual but with a glorified version of them. This creates an impossible standard, as no human can ever live up to such an idealized image. Now, let's talk about the emotional intensity and volatility. Limerence is characterized by extreme highs and lows. A brief interaction can send the limerent person soaring, while a perceived slight can plunge them into the depths of despair. This emotional roller coaster is exhausting, not just for the person experiencing it, but also for anyone around them. Friends and family might witness mood swings, an inability to focus on anything else, and a general emotional instability that is uncharacteristic. This isn't the steady, comforting presence of love. It's a storm brewing constantly. One of the most insidious aspects of limerence is its potential for self-destruction. Because the entire sense of self-worth becomes tied to the limerent object's perceived interest, rejection can be absolutely devastating. It can lead to severe depression, anxiety, and a complete breakdown of normal functioning. People experiencing limerence might neglect their jobs, hobbies, and relationships, isolating themselves in their obsession. They might even engage in behaviors they wouldn't normally, simply to gain the attention of the limerent object. This desperation can push people away and create a vicious cycle of loneliness and increased obsession. So, how do we differentiate this from true love? Let's consider a few more key contrasts. True love is liberating. Limerence is imprisoning. Love gives you freedom, allowing you to be your authentic self and grow independently while still being connected. Limerence traps you in a cage of obsession, where your every thought and action is dictated by another person's perceived feelings. You lose yourself in the process, your identity becoming intertwined with the object of your fixation. Love fosters security. Limerence breeds anxiety. In a loving relationship, there's a sense of safety and trust. You don't constantly worry about where you stand. Limerence, however, is a constant state of apprehension. Will they call? Did I say the right thing? Do they like me as much as I like them? This perpetual state of unease makes genuine connection impossible. Love is reciprocal and balanced. Limerence is often one-sided and imbalanced. While there can be phases of intense passion and love, a healthy relationship eventually settles into a comfortable rhythm of mutual giving and receiving. Limerence, more often than not, involves an intense pursuit by one party and a more detached, sometimes bewildered, response from the other. Even if there's some initial mutual attraction, the intensity of the limerent individual's feelings usually far outstrips that of the limerent object. The challenge, of course, is that in the early stages, limerence can feel incredibly similar to the initial intoxicating rush of new love. The butterflies, the constant thoughts, the intense desire to be with the person, these can all be present in both. But the key difference lies in what happens next. In healthy love, as the initial intensity mellows, it transforms into something deeper, more stable, and more real. You start to see the person clearly, flaws and all, and your affection deepens. In limerence, the obsession continues, often intensifying, because it's not based on reality but on a desperate need for a specific outcome. So, what happens when someone is caught in the throes of limerence? The good news is, it's not a permanent state, and understanding it is the first step towards breaking free. Recognizing the signs, the obsessive thinking, the intense need for reciprocation, the emotional roller coaster, the idealization is crucial. For those experiencing it, it's important to understand that these feelings, while powerful, are not necessarily indicative of a shared reality or a healthy future. One of the hardest parts of breaking free from limerence is the concept of limerence object withdrawal. Just like withdrawing from an addiction, detaching from the limerent object can cause immense psychological and even physical discomfort. There can be periods of intense craving, sadness, and even anger. This is why some experts suggest treating limerence much like an addiction, requiring a period of no contact to allow the brain to rewire itself and reduce the dopamine-fueled cycle of obsession. This doesn't mean cutting off all human contact forever, but rather creating a significant distance to allow emotions to stabilize and perspective to return. Another crucial step is to refocus on yourself. Limerence often develops when a person feels a void within themselves, and the limerent object is perceived as the perfect solution to fill that void. By investing in self-care, hobbies, friendships, and personal growth, individuals can build a stronger sense of self-worth that isn't dependent on another person's attention. This involves engaging in activities that bring genuine joy and fulfillment, rediscovering passions that might have been neglected during the period of obsession. Finally, seeking professional help can be incredibly beneficial. Therapists specializing in relationships, anxiety, or obsessive behaviors can provide strategies for managing the intrusive thoughts, processing the intense emotions, and developing healthier coping mechanisms. They can also help individuals understand the underlying reasons why they might be prone to limerence, such as past attachment styles or unresolved emotional needs. Understanding these root causes can prevent future occurrences. The journey from limerence to clarity isn't easy, but it is absolutely essential for genuine emotional well-being. It's about reclaiming your mind, your heart, and your life from an unhealthy obsession. It's about choosing a love that is real, sustainable, and truly fulfilling, rather than one that promises intoxicating highs but delivers devastating lows. The next time you feel an intense pull towards someone, stop and ask yourself, is this real, or am I caught in the shadow dance of limerence? Want to dive deeper into the hidden patterns of human connection? Hit the subscribe button